Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Red Valkyrie Presents. I am Shae the Red, feeling a little extra red today. What, Alex?
Like I said before, thank God you're not Shae the Blue.
Right. Would have been very confusing for everybody if I was Shae the Blue. And we're here with the super amazing Lee, aka Kemosabe. How are you, sir?
G'day, everyone. I'm the man called Kemosabe, the man with the plan from the land down under, and I'm really grateful to have a spot on your show today.
Well, we're happy that we could pry you away from the previous engagement to come hang out. Oh, of course. Hi.
That's next level.
I try real hard.
Oh, pun. Holy smoke.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm doing great, by the way. Thank you, Shae, for asking.
Oh, yeah.
Dick.
Did I ask? I don't think
No, you didn't.
That might have been by design, actually.
Aww.
You know, I really wanted to, if I had a little bit, oh my gosh, these puns are killing me. If I had a little bit more time, I was going to try and get my red hair to stand up as but I haven't had that much luck. I know the Death Metal Hero uses that got to be freeze spray and gets his hair to stand straight up. I have not had that kind of luck. I don't know how the man does it. I think it's witchcraft. So I decided that I wasn't going to try because it would probably fail terribly. So this is what we went with instead, because, you know, it's cooler anyway. Alex, are you good? If you're good, are you going to do the chat or are you going to share the screen?
I was typing to somebody and you didn't say, let's show your campaign, you asshole.
I was just about to, but then I heard the furious.
Shae had to go.
How you doing? That didn't take long. You have a good one yourself.
It did not take long for her to open her mouth and
yeah, there goes Ty.
Well, thanks everybody for turning up to support the company, man. Dead White and Blue, I really appreciate that. There's people coming over even from Cromcom over on Facebook. They're fantastic to see some people from the wider community. It's not just the Twitter community. Here we go. Look at this. This is this is musical chairs right now.
We're doing good. This is amazing. All right.
Mo Big says the company man is gay representation done right. I don't know what it means, but he also says back now. So listen to that part of the sentence. Definitely go back the book. It's a good one.
The company of men.
No, yeah, that's the porno parody that Axel Braun's going to make in 6 months.
Okay, so before we let you kind of run with your, very fantastic auctioneer speed of speech. We're going to watch your video, which might be slightly slower and a little bit informative.
Yeah.
And then we're going to unleash you and see what the hell happens after that point. So
I'm going to set playback to double speed.
Please don't.
Will be awesome.
I did it at half speed, so if you do it at double speed, it should bring me back to original speed.
Should just be normal speed.
Let us see. Can you hear?
Yes.
Yep.
Good.
G'day everyone, I am the man called Kemosabe, the man with the plan from the land down under, and I'm here to talk to you about the company men, Dead, White and Blue. The company men, Dead, White and Blue adds the action of Suicide Squad to the intrigue of Homeland and Body of Lies. It strikes back with superpowers. In a world where being superhuman is illegal, they are America's dirty little secret. A CIA-funded prevention and response unit on paper, but in reality, a superhuman hit squad protecting the nation's interests in the Middle East. They receive information that a terrorist attack is imminent, one that will affect even the United States. They follow every lead in a desperate race against the clock to stop it. At every turn they are betrayed and attacked by enemy and ally alike, until a final showdown tests their loyalty to their country, their job, and each other. This 60-page full-colour book is packed with action and intrigue. It's the first issue in a 3-issue story totaling 180 pages, and the language, violence and concepts are aimed at an adult audience, with a story that is layered and involved. This story, titled Dead, White and Blue, is the first arc out of 4 stories that tell the complete Company Man saga. All the pencils and inks are completed, and about half the colours and letters are done as well. The remaining colours, letters and the setup of the digital file is budgeted for separate to this Indiegogo campaign. No matter what happens, this book is being published. Fulfillment is being handled independently by RJ from Critical Blast Logistics. Now you guys know RJ, he's a stand-up guy with experience in this field, and he's worked hard to minimise international postage, letting us pass those savings on to you. We also have a Clayton Barton exclusive variant cover. This image graces the deluxe edition of the Company Men, Dead, White and Blue, an oversized stuffed to the gills edition filled with concept art, pin-ups, script pages, costume designs, page breakdowns, behind-the-scenes info and sneak peeks at upcoming Company Men projects. The campaign goes live 6 PM Eastern Standard Time on Friday the 19th on Indiegogo. I want to stress again, the success of this book, its ability to be completed, does not rest on this campaign. This campaign is to raise funds for the publishing and distribution of the comic. As we speak, Kelso Mazzina is already hard at work on the first pages of issue 2. You can back this campaign with confidence. And if you think this Aussie accent makes me sound dodgy and you aren't sure if you want to sink some of your hard-earned money into the Company Men, we also have a more inexpensive digital version available in the campaign. But I'm confident once you see how good this book looks, you won't rest until you have a physical copy in your hands. Thanks for having a look at this campaign, thanks for your consideration and support, and I hope you enjoy reading The Company Men, Dead, White and Blue as much as I did writing it.
Sweet. Very informative. And yes, that is you talking at about quarter speed, I think. It's nice and succinct. All right, so why don't you let us know a little bit more about what the Company Men is. You are muted, sir.
Thank you. I haven't done that in a while. So like I said in the video, it's 60 pages, full color. The book's, all the art's completely done. Just waiting for the last of the colors and the letters, and that stuff's been budgeted for separately. So this book, it's a lock. It's guaranteed it's going to happen. We've already made funding. We got the first 50% in the first hour. We made full funding in 3 days. So that covers all the publishing and distribution. The only way this book won't happen is if somebody gets hit by a bus. This is, you know, you can back with confidence. As a first-time creator coming out the gate, I wanted to have something special to prove to people. It's, you know, you can risk giving me your money. You can trust me with your money that it's going to happen. So I wanted to make sure the book was complete before we went on to that next stage where I started asking people to actually invest in this idea. This book, I used stuff like Strike Back, Black Hawk Down, Body of Lies, Homeland, those sort of stories, those sort of narratives that are set in the Middle East, that's set in those areas and those lands where there's shades of grey, where there's moral ambiguity. Places where you might have to let a human trafficker live and continue doing what he's doing because he has information that'll stop a terrorist attack next week or next month. You know, you can't just walk in there with black and white morals and start laying down the law. You've got a guy there who's hiding a terrorist in his hut because that guy happens to be his cousin. He's doing the right thing by his cousin. The American troops that come in and say, hey, we need to find this guy because he's a terrorist. They think they're the good guys because they're trying to find somebody who they think is going to take lives. That guy's trying to protect his cousin. Everybody in this situation thinks there's the good guy. There's no bad guy there. Again, it's shades of grey. And I was immersed in this world at the time. This is early 2010s, 2011, 2012 probably. And I was just immersed in this world and I was thinking, what if you drop superheroes into that? What if you drop guys in the colourful spandex with their black and white morality, with their straight up and down good guy, bad guy mentality, and drop them in this world? How would they have to change to adapt to that? You couldn't just, it's not bank robbers, people robbing a bank or whatever. You're somebody, Dr. Octopus stealing some sort of device from NYU Labs or whatever. Like there's so many shades of grey here. There's so much ambiguity. It's hard to know what's right in any situation. I wanted to explore a world where these superpowered people, these superhumans, are trying to determine what's right in this world of ambiguity. How do they decide? Is it right by them, right by their country, right by the people of the nation they're invading? How do they handle that? And that's the real drive of this story, the real drive of this narrative.
I don't mean to laugh as you're discussing other things. It's what she's highlighting on the screen. It's hilarious.
I figured, yeah.
No, so this is, I think it's a really interesting kind of perspective for you to take because you're, especially if they have the dodgy accent. Oh, that accent. That's so funny. No, I think it's really interesting because, you know, we, especially in the past couple of decades, we've heard a lot about everything that goes on in the Middle East, and people have kind of woken up to the fact that it's not like it's not a great place. Like there's a lot of like bad that goes on, but you have to, like you said, you have to pick your battles. You have to choose which evil is the worst evil that you really need to go after. Absolutely. And putting a whole bunch of superheroes down into that and being like, here you go, everyone who's like, nah, it's super easy. It's you kill the bad guys. And you're like, okay, here you go.
Yeah, do it. Yeah.
Where are they? Which ones?
You know, it's such huge power with power to change. Like the power levels of these guys around about the X-Men sort of power level. Like you got Abbott, the big dude up the back there. He's thanks for that. It's a trap. I really appreciate that, mate. Whether you got the digital or physical, I'm just glad to be able to get another copy of my book into people's hands. He's like Colossus Ben Grimm level, so he's probably the. We get that a lot. A lot of people mistake Kemosabe and Keno Subway, and it was pretty interesting. We're both on the same stream together last week.
I want you to know I paused at this image because I wanted to show you guys, or really, hammer home one thing. What I thought Shae would do. Mm-hmm. What I wanted Shae to do. What Shae did.
It's what happens.
This is my cosplay right now, by the way.
Yeah, just you and a wife beater.
All muscly though.
Oh, are you? When did that happen in the past? Oh.
And somebody's about to be kicked in 3, 2, there we go.
My mouse finger is faster than your countdown, sir.
It'd have to be being on this show.
She tried to come back.
Such a jerk. Yeah, I like to subvert expectations. What can I say?
Whatever.
That's something I can say about this book is it doesn't subvert expectations. I'm not going to say the ending's predictable, but it ends in a place where you go, this is where I expected it to end. This is the ballpark. You got a story like this. You got a story where there's double-crossing triple agent, where there's intrigue, there's red herrings. They're constantly, because they get word there's a terrorist attack going down, and this terrorist attack goes down, it's going to kick off another war. America's already invested in half a dozen wars, half a dozen different fronts. It can't afford to be investing troops, money, time, blood into another region. So it's imperative these guys stop this terrorist attack. So they're chasing that desperate. It could go down in an hour, it could go down in 48 hours. They don't know. They just know it's coming soon. Soon's pretty broad. But the more they look into it, the more the government says, hey, don't. It's just a waste of your time. We've got other stuff we need you to do. No one's even heard of this terrorist cell. Are you guys just making this up? And actually what happens is it looks like by the time they get right into it and find enough information to really prove to themselves that it is a real thing that's going down, the government's burned them. The government cuts them off and says, right, not only do you not work for us, we've expunged the records, you never worked for us. So now it looks like you're just a bunch of arseholes with superpowers and capes running around the Middle East causing trouble. You've killed 30 people in the last 48 hours. You've caused untold damage. You've killed a dictator. You've killed this guy who runs a region, and there's this civil unrest. Like, you've caused all sorts of problems. So now we're going to send our people after you to shut you down. So not only do they have to stop this terrorist attack to save innocent lives, American lives, lives of the people in the region. Not only do they have to prove their own innocence, they also have to prove they're still valuable to get back into the good graces of the CIA. Because once you've been burned, once you're out there, once you're out in the cold, that's a tough place to be. It's open season on you then. So they need to find a way to not only stop the attack, clear their names to show they weren't involved in it, but also want the CIA to rehire them and bring them back and fix the records and make it all smooth for them again. So, when you're writing a story, there's got to be death involved, whether it's professional death, whether it's emotional death, whether it's physical death. With these guys, it's all of it. It's the emotional death of watching people actually die, the physical death of themselves dying, and their own professional death. That's the conflict they come into, and the stakes keep ramping up with each book and with each scene. They realize the stakes are bigger, the scene's bigger, the attack's going to be bigger, more and more people are involved, and they get to a point very quickly where they realize they're in over their head. With all this power, you've got all this power, same as imagine when the American troops come in, they got all this gear, all this weaponry, all this intel, this way of doing things, all this technology, and then somehow they struggled when they met up with goat herders and AKs hiding in the hills. Same sort of thing. These guys have got all this power, but that can only take you so far. At some point, you still need information. At some point, you still need complicity from the people that you're dealing with, and that's where they run into that issue where they, being a superhero, I use the phrase they're super, but they're not heroes. Being this sort of character isn't enough to get the job done. They've got to dig deeper. And because they are mercenaries, because they're not good dudes, because they are operators and assassins and wet workers and stuff like that, when they first get burned, some of them are just like, what, I'm out. I'm just gonna do a runner. I can do this. I've got no loyalty to you blokes. So it's up to the leader then to pull them all together and say, hey, no, all in, Three Musketeers. If one of us goes, all of us go. If one of us dies, all of us is going to die. And that's where you start reaching into their own personal reasons for being there. I mean, you can go through each character and point to a reason why they're in this team, why they'd be doing this thing that's so contrary to. I mean, why would somebody want to do this? Why would somebody want to be a mercenary for hire, join this team, go over there, fight people that look and sound different to you? But for some of them, that's the reason.
Yeah. Well, and it's just really interesting because I don't know, I guess I have a very different view. If I was working for somebody like the CIA or something like that, and they were like, yeah, so we're basically gonna frame you, and all of that. We're gonna wipe the record of ever working with you, and now you are like basically public enemy number one for us. My goal would be survival, and to get my reputation like reinstated and all of that. But I would never want to work for them again. I'd be like, you guys are fucking evil bastards.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not working for you.
I'd want leverage so that they could never do it again. No, I stopped at this spot to ask you, is this a video we want to play?
No, it's 20 minutes long. It's great and it's interesting, but we don't want a 20-minute video.
No.
So this
10 times
video
speed.
is, yeah, that's right. That video is like behind the scenes video, who the characters are, what they can do, character concept sketches, that sort of thing. Little videos about their powers and how they do what they do, why they do what they do, and the motivation I had for making them, what they were motivated by, and what role they play within the team. So when Zach was promoting Jawbreakers, the thing that got me most motivated about it, most interested in it, was when he did that video that explains how each character is sort of an analog. Like Hell Priest is basically Daredevil, Devil Dog is basically Punisher, and he sort of made analogs towards all of them and talked about how they're different and how they're similar and what the stories were and how he come up with them. That really motivated me to be interested in the book. So I did something similar to try and get people a little bit invested in some of these characters ahead of time. So it's definitely something I'd want people to go check out on the page on my YouTube channel, but probably not right now.
Definitely go look at it after this. Christy says $2 says he's a telemarketer, or was.
No, I'm just a dad at the moment, just a dad.
That'll be a $2 super chat. The button is right below. It's the dollar sign. All right, continuing on.
All right, so we've gotten a little bit of kind of their backstory and everything. What? Oh, you're such a jerk.
Don't tase me, bro.
Anyway.
Don't pirate me, bro. Yeah.
Don't pirate me.
I fucking highlighted it on the screen, you blind fucker.
It's gonna happen, like you did digital. Someone's gonna pirate it. That's inevitable. I'm more just interested about getting the book into people's hands. There was a time there when, because it's a 180-page story, it's 3 lots of 60. I just couldn't ship a 180-page book. The costings on. And now that I'm working with RJ from Critical Blast, we probably could have come to some sort of working out of 180 pages shipped. But I wanted it. Art wouldn't be done till 2023, so I wanted to get something out sooner rather than later. So I broke it up into 3 sections, which works because it's a 3-act structure. The end of Act 1, you go through the door of no return, the new normal, the world has changed, it's not what it was, you have new information, you can't go back. These guys can't pretend they don't know that there's a terrorist attack going down, so that's the new normal. They're aware that this is a real thing. So at some point I was planning on just giving away the first 20, 30 pages for free anyway, just to get people interested. So doing a PDF is just a further step to that. It's a digital edition in case I know a lot of people are hurting right now. There's a lot of stuff going on, especially in America with the weather, and that's making things difficult for people. It's not a good time for people to be paying for stuff that's, I hate to say comics are frivolous, but food's a bit more important. You can eat comics, but I wouldn't recommend it. So if you're hurting a little bit, maybe go the digital, pick up a physical later on. But remember that all physical versions do come with a digital. So if you've got a little bit more money laying around, back the physical, get a free digital anyway.
That's awesome. And I love that you're doing that. That's something that I know a lot of people are torn on, but personally, I really appreciate when it's offered with the physical. So when you're getting a physical and you can have the option to have digital, because if you're traveling a lot or if you're going around places, I don't want to have to forego having entertainment that I know is going to be entertaining, as opposed to the crap that I can normally get. Sai, if you don't fucking stop clicking chat, it's the only job you have me doing right now. I'm going to murder you. Christopher C., thank you very much for the $2. He says, oof, kudos for the unrelenting speed.
So he put up.
He did. Look, he said $2, you were a telemarketer, and then he donates $2. Look at that.
Just not to you.
Not to you. Okay, so I wanted to ask you this. What is the difference between your deluxe edition and your standard?
Yeah, great question. So the deluxe edition's got the Clayton Barton / Corey Barton cover. That's the one that you saw just a second ago that was just up further there. Clayton Barton on the art, Corey Barton on the colors. That's an 80-page. Yep, that's the one. Thank you. That's an 80-page edition. So you got the 60. So when I say 60 pages, 60 story pages. Credits, thank you pages, little pinups, that's extra. It's 60 story pages from page 1 to page 60 is all story. So when somebody says a 60-page comic and it's 50 pages of story and 10 pages of fluff, you're getting 60 pages of story art. This is 60 pages with 20 pages of all that other stuff. You've got my original character sketches and then Kelso's updated version, so you can see the progression of the character over time. You got just bump my camera there we go. Don't want to break the illusion. We got character profiles in the style of G.I. Joe. Got a scan of an old G.I. Joe packet, and you got the character profiles, a little bit of information there. You've got looks into future Company Men projects. I've got a bunch of stuff already scripted. I'm already talking with some artists about getting some other stuff done. Abbott's got a solo story. Cinder's got a solo story. We've got Company Men Black, which is a Black Ops miniseries science story. Got 3 issues of these guys being pulled together for smaller, more intimate, more awful missions where they go do horrible, travel back in time and kill Hitler as a baby type thing that the regular team can't or won't do or need deniability for. So all that sort of stuff, there's hints towards that sort of thing in there. You've got script pages, you've got Kelso's breakdowns, you've got pencils and inks before you go to colours, all that sort of behind the scenes stuff that people like. So if you're interested in how the book was made, why it was made, what my motivations were, what the inspirations were, that's the sort of stuff you're going to get in the deluxe edition along with that amazing cover. Now this cover here, this is the Renzo Rodriguez cover. This is the secret perk. You got this one by signing up to the campaign ahead of time. And once you did that, you got an email link to a secret perk, so you get the standard edition with this cover. The only way to get this cover now is to buy the triple pack, where you get all 3 editions, all 3 covers. The triple pack's actually a $10 saving on buying them all separately. So rather than buying them all separately, grab the triple pack, save yourself a little bit of money. And for all standard editions, for all individual standard edition books, shipping's free in Australia. So that's something that all my countrymen should know. They get free shipping. And if you get triple pack in Australia, I still had to charge you some shipping. It's just too heavy. It's 3 books, big books. I couldn't help that. But everything else is free shipping. And everybody in the US that's thinking of backing, all the, like I said in the video, all the shipping's being handled by RJ from Critical Blast. So I'm bulk. I've actually written a novelization of the book. So I'm debating on what's the best. I can't give you guys a novelization now because you'll know the ending to the whole story before the rest of the comics come out. So maybe with the 3rd one, I can chuck in the novelization. I'm sure I could do an audio reading. I'll probably get Roger, CG World Order, to do the reading because he's got an amazing voice. He's at what I imagine Abbott to sound like. He's got such a deep, resonant voice. He'd be perfect for it. I'll pay him to do a reading of it. But RJ's handling all the distribution. So if you look at the shipping costs on these books to the US, I think it's roughly half what you'd expect to pay from an Australian. If you've backed other Australian books and you've seen the shipping they charge and you look at the shipping I'm charging, is round about half.
Okay. That's actually probably going to get me to back sooner rather than later, because I've been waiting to have you on so we could talk about all of this stuff, because I don't want to back. As much as I would love to give as much money as possible to campaigns and creators that I think are amazing, I don't want to back a lot of the foreign ones that I know I'm going to have to pay that really hefty shipping on and then miss out on something and be like, well, that's another $30 in shipping.
Yeah, it doubles the cost of a book.
Oh gosh. Yeah, exactly. It's upsetting.
Yeah, you go back a book, $25. That's fair. $30 shipping. Nope, I'm out. I got kids. I can't do it. I back almost exclusively digital. Plus, it helps me with my reviews. Everything's in digital. It's very easy to have it up on the screen there. I got Liam Gray Xenotype, which is I really enjoyed it, but I've got to hold it open and hold the phone camera there to show what I'm talking about when I do a review. It's really awkward.
Yeah. Okay, so Sai has finally stopped on the stretch goals. So let's go ahead and go over what your stretch goals are currently. Sure.
So the Company Men has been brought in under the Brain Cage banner with Greg Levitro, Gun Demon, Chris Oak, Stefani Renee, Amanda Fogarty. We've got a bunch of other creators to create a shared universe. I really want patches, but it's just not something I think that's viable right now. Like the margins are pretty thin on this, so we'll see how we go. If it explodes out near the end, sure, we can talk about patches, because I think a paramilitary organization is a natural cause to have a patch. It makes sense to me. It's something I always wanted to do. It's just not something I can necessarily do now. So you've got all these creators coming together under one banner to create a shared universe. We spent a lot of time making sure the universes all sync up and match together. Stuff like the stuff that happens in World War Hell, which is set in World War II, directly feeds into Abbott's motivation and actions in World War II, which feeds into the creation of the CIA, which feeds into the creation of the Company Men. So it's all one big story. You don't need to read all of it to get it. The stories do have standalone value on their own. It is very modular in that way, but at the same time, you can see the big picture. To that end, one of our stretch goals, the first stretch goal, is an issue 0 of The Scarab by Stefani Renee. Now, you guys know him from Thomas More, Wizard for Hire. He's also working on The Red Key. He's got his own character, The Scarab, which is about he's a ancient Egyptian themed, fueled type character. So he's got sketched there the character. He's doing a 10-page issue 0 that's going to be included in this campaign if we hit an appropriate stretch goal.
Awesome.
Where the fuck did that comment come from?
Which one? Chris C's?
Oh, you don't know?
It's been like a meme.
Yeah, I've seen it around a lot.
Anyway.
Go back to the... You are a devil woman.
There's a song about that, isn't there?
She's a devil in disguise. Oh, she's
yeah.
gonna punch me. I touched the chat.
So,
Why don't you scroll into your job so we can see the next stretch goal?
So one of the other things we've got is a CCG, a collectible card game. Greg's been working for years on a system for a battle card game. He's calling it Battlegate, and it's using characters from the Brain Cage universe. But we've also got other creators who maybe don't necessarily want to come into a shared universe and come under that banner. They still want to have booster decks and decks for their characters made. So we're talking to other creators. Can't say names right now, but it's people, people you see on Twitter, people whose campaigns you probably backed. They're saying, look, I've got all these characters. Cool, make a deck for you. It'll work seamlessly with our system. So you're going to be getting a starter deck. It's the villain deck. So you're going to be getting a bunch of the bad guys from the Company Man, a bunch of bad guys from Gun Demon. You're going to be getting some bad guys from other Phase 2 Brain Cage launches as well. The hero deck's going to be in Greg's Gun Demon campaign, and so you're going to be getting the Company Men in that. You're going to be getting Gun Demon. You're going to be getting Scarab. You're going to be getting other characters from future phases as well to try and build a bit of hype for these characters. So you've got a card of this guy, using him in the game if you're playing. I used to really like playing Versus back in the day. I never played Magic much, but Versus is similar, but with Superman and Batman and Spider-Man. I really enjoyed that. I got a stack of those cards, so something that I really like, and I always thought there's been a niche for that sort of thing in Comicsgate. I heard a few people hint at it, but no one's really come right out with anything, whereas Greg's got a ready-to-go system. It's just a matter of integrating the characters into that and leveling their powers so that it works appropriately and everything's balanced. So that's something else that we're looking to fund the creation of, because it's all graphic design. You've got to pay for the elements, you've got to pay for the card to be put together, you've got to pay for it to be printed and distributed as well. So that's something else that we're looking at doing if we hit those level goals. And I've also got a bunch of pin-ups and posters that I'd like to get made into some sort of poster pack. We got art from Dean James, we got art from Bosco, art from Renzo Rodriguez. I've got a bunch of other dudes that I've got art in the works for now. Ned Socron, Booty Juice, people like that, people that are doing really good art at the moment that you see. Anybody that I see that's doing really, really great art, I'm just like, hey man, you free, you want to do a commission, you want to do a pin up at the Company Men for me. So I've got a it doesn't get any better than Booty Juice. So I've got a half a dozen pin-ups ready to go. I'd like to turn into some posters and distribute to you guys if we reach that level.
That'd be awesome. Okay.
Yeah, we go through the perks.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's go through the perks. You've got still 52 days left, so there's still a good amount of time left on this campaign.
Yeah.
This has only been a week.
Yeah.
Good hell. You are doing very well.
Thank you.
For a week. And size never mind, just go through the perks. It's fine.
What, you wanted to see the amount?
I wanted you to refresh.
I was going to do that towards the end, but okay. Ready?
So there you go. You've got 99 backers.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Gained a couple.
Yeah, absolutely.
4203 US dollars, which is 5,455 Aussie dollars.
Dollary dues.
I'm sorry, my bad.
That's okay. Not a lot of people know
knew
this.
they were dollary dues too,
Yeah.
but I didn't feel like saying it.
That's the official name. People think it's a joke, but that's a real thing. It's a real thing.
Of course they are, because it's Australia and everything's ridiculous there. Anyway.
I love it. We call it the lucky country for a reason. All right, so we've got the deluxe edition here. You got that Clayton Barton cover with Corey Barton colors on top of that. That's 80 pages, 60 story pages, plus 20 of all the extra good stuff. Anything I can fit in there, anything that's cool, anything that I think you guys are going to be interested, goes into that one. You've got a digital edition. Now, remembering that your deluxe edition that you just saw previously will come with a digital anyway. So if you're going to get the digital and you've got a little bit more cash, just bump it up to the physical. You're going to be getting that anyway. 60 pages, full color. I know the pricing on digital is sort of an iffy sort of thing, but remember this is Australian dollars. So once you convert that $15 back, you're looking at $10 to $12 for a 60 page full color book. And I don't think it's unfair to say that the quality of this book is in the realm of professional, and I think that I'm justified in asking that much money for a book of this quality, of this depth. I mean, you just look at the color on that. Look at that fantastic picture of Durad leaping there, and all the textures and everything. Like, we've put together a really high quality team, and I'm charging what I believe it's worth, and these guys are getting their due. Beneath that, you've got the standard edition, so it's got the Kemosabe cover, that iconic image of the company men all standing around a group. That's when I first saw that with the banner on it. Now, the logo is by Bob Stone. You guys probably know Bob Stone, artist off Twitter. He's prolific. I think he did the Jawbreakers logo, which is why I sought him out. It's funny because I said to him, "Oh man, I really want something just like the Jawbreakers logo." He's like, "No, you don't. Let me show you what you want." And he put this together for me, and I'm like, "Whoa, this is what you pay these guys for." Like, I went in thinking I knew what I wanted. He showed me what I should be doing. You know, and he had the logo there. I said, "I love it." He goes, "You love it. Watch this." And he tilted it just a little bit towards me, and I'm like, "Okay, just take my money. Just take my money." So you guys are off to.
Questions have been raised in the audience, and I've got to ask this out of concern for your health. Do you have like breathing holes somewhere on your body? Because it's not coming through your mouth. That appears to be output only.
Oh, he can output at the same time. It's fine.
Well, yeah, actually, I can't do it anymore because I'm out of practice, but I used to be really good on the didgeridoo. And you need to use circular breathing for that. So you breathe in while you speak out at the same time, while you make that sound coming out. You got to breathe in at the same time. It is straining though. Like, even if you've got a small didge, it's absolutely, like, you do that for 10, 15 minutes, you're absolutely wrecked. You need to go lay down. If you've got a proper, good big size one, I've got one that's taller than I am. Using that for just like 30 seconds absolutely wrecks me these days. I need to get back into practice to get that lung health back to where it used to be. I miss it. It's a really cool thing to be able to do. You're sitting around, somebody cracks out the didge, you just start. I mean, I'm not Indigenous myself, but it's funny because in some regions, like, women aren't allowed to handle the didgeridoo. In other regions they are. So for each different Indigenous region, there's different rules, and it's nice to be aware of where you are. I remember I was working in one place doing some volunteer work with some kids, and a woman was running the place, and she had a bunch of didges for the kids, but she couldn't go get them because she couldn't pick them up. It was against the rules for her to touch one in that region. So we'd send the kids down to go grab them out of her office, stuff like that. Whereas you could walk 20 miles that way, drive 20 miles that way, and it's fine for a woman to use or handle a didgeridoo. So it's just something you got to be aware of around here in the different regions, if you know what the indigenous nation is of that particular area. There's over 200 indigenous nations in Australia. If you look at Australian map with the indigenous nations, there's these tiny, tiny little countries next to each other, all within the one landmass. It's really interesting.
Mobig says no one wants to hear about your small didge.
I was going to say, in this region, I do not mind if a select person touches my didgeridoo, but only with express written consent.
Okay, and we actually had a legitimate question.
Other than Jesus Christ, slow down. Okay.
Eric McIntyre said, "Is the digital version available immediately, or do we wait until you start fulfillment?"
Well, because that's a great question. I hadn't thought about that, and this is just really good to get to know that sort of thing. I want you guys to have a book as soon as possible. As soon as two things happen, as soon as all the artwork, all the colouring is done on the artwork and the lettering, and the digital file is ready to go, and as soon as the campaign ends, obviously, otherwise I'll give you guys a digital file and you just reimburse your money. That's madness. As soon as those two things happen, I'll send out the digital. Everybody who's got one.
Awesome. That is awesome.
Like I said, we've got 50%, less than 50% of the colours to go, because Dio's sending me more colours every day. He just sent me 5 more through the day before yesterday. Absolutely fantastic work. There's a scene in a hookah bar, HOOKAH, hookah, and everything's
hookah bar?
like,
awesome.
Yeah. Everything's just like neon pink, because it's like 20, 30 years behind, so it's 80s. Everything's neon pink in this, this Middle Eastern hookah bar, and it's I've got thick skin, and I'm okay to laugh at myself. So all these small didge jokes.
I'm laughing at this, and I that fact is disputed, Phil.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So yeah, as soon as I can, as soon as it's viable, I'll be sending out digital copies to everybody who's eligible to have one. Below the physical and digital, there you've got a triple pack. Now this triple pack's the only way to get a hold of that Renzo Rodriguez cover. That one with them all standing there. It's got fantastic planetary vibes. There's this. I did mention shipping on everything, but the triple pack is free in Australia, so all my Aussie countrymen can get a physical edition with no shipping charge at all. Underneath that, we've got an original art page from Kemosabe. It's his Bristol board, his pen and ink, the real deal. Get that sent to you worldwide. Underneath that, we've got character sketches. So you pick a character. It doesn't have to be from this book. It can be your own OC. It can be a character that exists, Cable, Batman, whatever. Let us know. I'll let Kelso know. He'll draw it and send that out to you as well. And below that, we've got the cover, the original art for the cover itself, which I really want, but I'm also looking at this long term. It'd be nice to have it on the wall there, but it'd also be nice to have that extra money in the kitty to help move things forward in the future. Like I said in the video, like Kelso's working on book 2 now, and that money's been budgeted separately, but the more money I have above my funding goal is more money I can feed into to make stuff happen. As it is, he's working payday to payday. I get paid, he sends me the pages, I pay him. In a couple of weeks, he sends me pages, I get paid again. It works like that. So having more money means I can just say, just draw quicker, draw at the pace you're comfortable with, and I can pay him every time he sends me through a lot of pages. Below that, we had a Clayton Barton signed print. Because he works digital, we're printing it off at the highest resolution we can. He's going to sign it in person, and we're going to ship that to the person who bought that one. So because he's digitally doesn't have original art, this is as close as we can get for original art. There's only going to be one of these ever done, one of these ever printed. So that's our version of the original art on the Clayton Barton cover.
Awesome.
Wow. Okay. Oh my goodness, the chat. I cannot keep up with all of you.
After listening to you talk for 36 minutes, I feel like I got beat up.
You should feel sorry for my wife.
Yeah.
She'll listen to me all the time.
Does she talk as fast as you? Because
she's actually the talker. I'm the listener, so I'm just getting it all out on you. Yeah.
Oh,
you just save it up, and this is the uncorking.
I do. Yeah, I'm actually really quiet in real life.
Before the end of this, go ahead.
I Borrow Ideas has a question. He says, "How's the communication with Brenzo?"
It was, I don't know if there's a more subtext there, but it was fantastic. I said, "Oh man, you're available for some pinup work." He sent me a half a dozen sketch breaks down. Said, "Which one do you want?" I said, "Well, I want that one because it looks like planetary. It's got all the guys standing there like that planetary energy." He got it back to me within a couple of weeks. It was excellent, and it's funny because he, without even knowing it, I don't know. So if you don't mind just scrolling down till you find that Renzo picture, I could just real quick just speak into it because it's really cool what he managed to do. Next one.
A little bit more. One more.
Let's go.
That one. That's one. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. He managed to say something about each character. He didn't know this. He did this completely unintentionally. But he posed the characters and positioned them in a way that speaks to their personality and their character, which I thought was just, it's, I don't know, sort of intrinsic understanding, maybe just an artist's perspective. I love working with these talented artists because they come up with stuff you never even thought about. So you got the boss out the front there. She runs the team. She thinks it's all about her. She's the one character that's a constant in every single Company Men book. From there's 12 books all up to make 4 stories plus all the side stories. She's the one character who's in every single book. In a way, it's really her story as someone who's overarching and watching the whole thing, developing the team, growing it, that sort of thing. She thinks it's about her, so she's out the front. You've got Abbott on one side and Jura on the other. They're the two that have been with her the longest. They both love her in different ways. Jura has a romantic love for her and romantic like respect, whereas Abbott's got like a little sister love. She's like his little sister. He's 80, 90 years old. He's been around since World War II. He's got a lot of loyalty and affection for her in like a you're my little sister sort of way. Up the back, you got Gates there lighting a cigarette. He's the most mercenary. He's just out for cash. He's the one that's least involved with the characters individually. He's the one most likely to cut out. He's also a teleporter, so that speaks into his character. He's the sort that's like, no, this is too hard. I'm just going to teleport to Honduras somewhere and just start again. Like, I'm going, I'm out. See you later. So he's right up the back, detached from the rest of the group. You got in the blue there, you got Ramjet the Speedster. He's the newest guy. He's the rookie. He's just been brought in on this book. He's the new guy to the team. They had somebody in the team had just died in the previous story, which doesn't exist. It's just like, that's the backstory. Somebody died. He's the replacement. They're not happy he's been brought in to replace their friend. He's the new guy. He's young. He's a rookie. He's inexperienced. He's naive. He's trying to like horn in on the team. He's like, hey guys, look at me. I'm part of the team too. Aren't I accepted? Aren't I in with you guys? But he's not really yet. He's got to earn that throughout the course of the story. And then on the other side, you've got Cinder, who's this burning man, constantly burning, constantly on fire. Even though him and Jura are best mates, fire and ice, there's a bit of a duality there. In a way, being immortal, being indestructible, always reconstructing your body no matter how much damage you take, makes you detached from the rest of mankind, makes you detached from the rest of humanity. In a way, he's on the outs constantly because he's always just that little bit removed from the people, even the people he cares about and would fight and die for. So there's just amazing the way that Renzo managed to, I don't know, pick up on those intricacies of their character without me saying it explicitly. He managed to pose them in such a way that, which is, I think, one of the reasons I love it so much. It's got almost like a Frank Quietly, Brian Bollard type style in some aspects. It's got that planetary energy. It's just tilted like that. I remember saw that image and I was just in love with it. I love that image. I mean, I like all the work, but that one speaks to me on a writer as a writer on that sort of level.
That's awesome. I like when there's like the little Easter eggs and the subtext for a lot of the art that you've got. So I think it's cool that you've got that going with this, and as people start to read, parts of it are probably going to start making a little bit more sense as you go along, which is amazing. Mobig says fire and ice best mates. He's blowing me mind like a didgeridoo.
That was completely unintentional. I just started writing the characters, and I've said before about this. This is probably the purest writing experience I've had writing a comic. Writing novels is different. The novels I've written have been similar to this. It just happens. But writing this comic, because I stuck out in the middle of the rain camping, a week camping. It was going to rain nonstop. I was stuck with a silky notepad and a biro, and I just thought, I'm just going to write this idea I've had banging around in my head for the last couple of months. And every character just walked onto the stage of my mind, fully formed, with name, powers, their description, how they look, their attitude, their personality. When Cinder turned up, I just knew these guys are best mates. They've been working together for years, and I did love that immediate duality of fire and ice being the best of friends.
That's awesome. I borrow ideas is asking, are you going to put a hand turkey stretch goal in there?
I don't know what that is. That just
Shae made the mistake of making a joke that I make a really good hand turkey, and then I ended up having to put my money where my mouth was, and now it's a thing. I haven't done them in a while. I've been focusing on trying to do real art, but everybody keeps going back to the hand turkeys, so I owe Gelthwalker a drop bear hand turkey. A couple other people have asked for hand turkeys for various campaigns, so we can talk. I don't know why anyone would want one of these, but we can talk. All right, patches. I borrow ideas asking about patches again, so we did cover that.
Yeah.
Patches are a maybe for a future campaign, but not for this one, because he's trying to make sure that he can get stuff.
Unless it really blows out.
Yeah, unless things get crazy. So, start sharing this out. We got well over 50 days to do so. So, share it out, get a lot of people to back, and then maybe we can convince Lee to do some patches.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, it's one of the first stretch goals I had in mind. It's just not something that's as viable right now, but a paramilitary organization, it makes sense. They would all have some sort of, like SHIELD or something, like some sort of unifying patch.
Well, if you need a contact, let me know.
Patch.
For patches, because we know a guy. But we know a guy in the States, so it might make it a little tricky. I absolutely love that he has his icon upside down.
Child has arrived. Look at Eric's comment there.
Did she just imply hand turkeys are not real art? They are. I feel silly and like y'all are just making fun of me. But
your hand turkeys are gorgeous.
I will do hand turkeys in the very near future, you guys.
Your hand turkeys are certainly much better than this.
I don't know, that's the best selling mug right there.
Yes, it is.
Greg wants to know if Kemosabe hides weed and snacks in his beard. We'll have to wait for small
I
child.
do not.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm flying solo this weekend, so I've got both kids, so I'm just doing the best I can.
Here, Mo explains what a hand turkey is.
Yeah, there you go. A hand turkey is tracing the outline of your hand and turning it into a turkey drawing.
And Soul Ion, I have a finger for you.
Red Valkyrie lore, Shae equals hand turkey, Sai equals turkey sandwich.
I love turkey sandwiches.
If art school taught me anything, it's that anything is art and nothing is art.
That's very true. I did go to, when I was a small child, I went to an art exhibit, and they had a chair on a platform with a velvet rope around it. And I asked my mom why they sectioned off a chair, and she said it was a piece of art. And I said, it's just a chair. And she goes, I know, dear.
Ready-mades, yeah.
And then we walked away.
Yeah.
Genuine comics. Yeah, I want to know, are all the characters Australia-based?
No, none of them are, actually. In retrospect, I would love to have made Abbott Australian, that typical brusque, crude Aussie, that very, very Captain Boomerang in a way, without the cowardice. But no, too late. I mean, I wrote this. I didn't know the Aussie thing was going to be such a big deal amongst CG and amongst the indie crowd. Like, people just really seem to respond to it, whether it's because we can take a joke or whether because it's easy to make a joke on us. I don't know. We've got pretty thick skin. But
I want to see him with a didgeridoo. Next comic.
Yeah, it's fine. You can have him go to Australia and then fall in love with the area, and then he just has the didgeridoo forever.
Yes.
Well, I wrote a Australia character into the third book, the third Company Men story.
Nice.
Because
Awesome.
some people stay and go, some people die, some people take time off, some people come back. It's like a rotating roster sort of thing. So some of these guys will be in the next, like these guys are in all 3 issues of this story, but some of them might not be back for the next story for Company Men 2, Hearts of Darkness.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
We have Chris Oak Art saying we're sharing a cool Aussie character across 2 Brain Cage books, which is awesome. I love that you're kind of creating this network in your own universe and pulling in as many people as you can. I think that's awesome.
And it's slow and steady is the game. We're making sure that our releases are realistic and realizable. The first wave is 2 books, my book and Gun Demon. That's the first wave that's done, and those 2, there's links together. There's going to be Company Men guest starring in Gun Demon to show how they link together. And then the second wave is 2 books, and then you're going to have guest stars. A bit like how Marvel does the stingers at the end of the credits. We're gonna hint that these guys all work together in the same world, and then it's all going to culminate together in like a crossover event that will again happen separate to the mainline books. You're not going to be reading Company Men and have an alien invasion turn up and get in the way of the story. Their stories, their stories, but other stuff is set to the side. G'day, Todd. Nice to see you, mate.
Do you mind if I offer you one suggestion? As I was scrolling through your campaign, I noticed something.
Sure. I'm always happy to hear feedback.
If you can finish early, ship in November, not December.
Oh, very true. Very true.
So the December, it's a great bit of advice, and I appreciate it. The December date is like worst case scenario because
Good.
While I was making the campaign, I'm hoping everybody will get it months before December. When I was making the comic, I've told the story a few times before. In Australia, if you want to do anything, if you want to get your kids immunised, if you want to get your child payments, if you want to get unemployment, if you want to get a car license, whatever, you have to go through the MyGov website. You don't have a choice. Everything's done through this one website online. It got hacked. Hundreds of thousands of Aussies got their identity stolen. I was one of them. So they got my birth certificate, they got my passport, they got everything. So I had to start. Yeah, I had to start all over again. I had to prove I was who I was, going to places with my wife, and she had to sign like an affidavit sort of thing to say, yes, this is my husband, this is his real identity, and go from there to prove that I was even who I was. And I had to start fresh, new license, new bank account. So it took me 3 months to get back to being a real recognized citizen. And this is a cautionary tale for the whole, microchip type. Everyone's talking about that sort of mark of the beast, sort of everybody under the cashless society. Like it proved all it took was one hacking attempt that got a bunch of people like me and destroyed my life for 3 months, put the whole campaign back. So I know that these things can happen out of nowhere. It can completely send you off kilter. So the December delivery date is worst case scenario. If everything goes wrong, I can't imagine, with the book being done now in February, I can't imagine it's going to take that long. I'm not going to put an exact date on it, but months and months before December, you guys should be getting your book. Especially since RJ's handling the distribution from within America. Once it gets printed here, I got some great quotes from Stephen Koch, who's doing the letters on this book, from Sigmate Studios. He's done Transhuman, Terra Olympus, and a bunch of other books. He's prolific. He's delivered a half a dozen books. He knows what he's doing. Like, I've got him on as letterer, but I'm not paying him enough. Don't tell him. Because he's like impromptu editor. He's doing the digital file. He's giving me all this advice because he's someone who's been around the traps. He knows how to do this. Once it gets shipped to me... I suppose that means something different over here. Once it gets sent to me, I'm sending it over to RJ. He's going to distribute it within America. So you're only getting it posted from America to America, not 3 months on a slow boat from Australia.
That's awesome. That's very awesome. I'm really happy to see that you're kind of leveraging what the community can be and finding those contacts. It's something that I think we need to do a lot more of. Like when people are trying to get these books out into as many countries as they can, into as many hands as they can, and then you start looking at what it actually costs to, I don't know, ship something to Australia, ship something to the UK, to Canada if you're in the US. Yeah. Shockingly more expensive than going across the fucking ocean to the United Kingdom is shipping to Canada. I'm just throwing that out there. It was insane.
I've heard. Yeah.
I think that it cost me almost twice as much, and that was after finding a way to keep it from costing me like 4 times as much to ship something from Maryland, which is very close, to Canada, versus Maryland to the United Kingdom. So the way that we've got everything going, if it all comes from the US and goes out, it's not necessarily going to be the best way that we can do this, because the shipping gets insane for everyone who's overseas, and it's vice versa. If you're in, Australia, you don't want to miss out on an entire market that you could hit in America because shipping gets to be, exorbitant. So trying to find ways to work around that, I think, is kind of where we're gonna have to go in the long term. But I'm happy to see that people are starting to kind of make some of those inroads, and so we can find better ways in the future.
Yeah, I definitely see more and more people looking towards making sort of central hubs within areas. RJ, again, is doing it. He's not just doing it for me. Like, he's available for anybody that's overseas, anybody that's even in America, I suppose, that wants to ship their books to him. Is bagged, boarded, thermal wrapped, Gemini mailer, posted out to America for roughly half what you'd expect from a book that you might have backed from Australia in previous months or previous years. I'm tempted to do something similar here. I've got a fairly big garage. I'm tempted to do something here. If somebody's got stuff they want to distribute within Australia, setting up, because RJ's got the spreadsheet there, so anybody can just take it and set up their own hub. Like, he wants this to be a thing. He's not looking for kickbacks.
Yeah.
He's just looking to empower the community to do this sort of thing. So I could do the same sort of thing, set up in my shed, people send me stuff. He's got it all factored in. Like, he's even got insurance on his storage in case something goes wrong and there's an earthquake or a flood and all your books get wrecked. Your books are then covered through his insurance, and all that cost is factored into it. It still comes in at half what you'd expect to pay for a book from Australia. So if people take his model in Canada, in the UK, in Australia, there's no reason that we can't make this a much more affordable, because I think it's one of the biggest impediments to indie comics growing. We're not in the comic book stores. We're not allowed in the comic book stores. It's hard to get in the comic book stores. And the comic book stores don't have the same pull or reach as they used to. They're not as big as a deal as they used to be. A lot of them shut down. A lot of them aren't as viable as they used to be. So It's up to us to make that happen now.
Absolutely. Well, and this is, one of the things that people had been saying, and I apologize for the pterodactyl in the background who just won't shut the hell up. He's such a jerk. What I was gonna say is what was I gonna say, because he keeps screaming and I've totally forgotten.
He was gonna say, "You're awesome."
No, it was about the mainstream and having like comic book shops and all that. They're not hitting the same kind of demographic that they used to, and having something online like we've got, it's like having a 24/7 365 convention.
Yeah.
This is just like having a Comic-Con, like, constantly. And so the ability to kind of leverage that and, get all of these amazing books out there as much as possible to as many people as possible is something that it's the future, is the way that this is going to continue on, for sure.
And it's something they can't take away from us. They can't take that power from us. They can't deplatform this. This is like making your own currency, making your own platform, all that sort of stuff. People say, just make your own whatever. Well, we have. This is what we've built. And everybody's had a part of it. Even if you're just somebody's in the comments in the section here participating, everybody has helped build this thing, and they can't take it from us, and it's not going to be stopped.
Absolutely. Soul Ion says, Shae, will your shark teeth grow back when you lose them? No, not unless I paint them back on. That's the only way that they will come back. Unhinged Entertainment says, I made it back for this season's dino question. So, Kemosabe.
Yep.
If you could be any dinosaur, what would you be and why?
It'd be a toss-up between a Pachycephalosaurus and a Parasaurolophus. They both have that extravagant headgear going on. The Pachycephalosaurus, they do the headbutt thing. I like that sort of thing. But also the Parasaurolophus, they make the sound through their ridge. It's a bit like a didgeridoo. So probably going to have to come down on the side of the Parasaurolophus, because then I can be hitting the didge 24/7 and
no breathing needed.
Yeah, exactly right.
Great,
Circular.
it's no problem. Holy shit! The fact that you had two very obscure ones just right there on the tip of your tongue.
I used if I wasn't going to be a comic creator, I was going to be a paleontologist.
Oh my goodness. We asked the right person the right question, apparently.
We did. That's insane. I don't think that's ever happened on our show before.
Congratulations, Jason. You finally struck pay dirt.
We've got the most accurate response I think we've ever had. Look at that. Everyone's like, oh, Kibo was ready for that question. I know, right?
I wasn't. I just love dinosaurs. Yeah, I
was about to give you credit for also having watched our show before and see.
Yeah, and like having it prepped, but that's not it. That's not what happened. All right, so then in the spirit of the standard questions that we always have, what is the best pizza topping and why is it pepperoni?
Because it's pepperoni.
Also the right answer, yes.
I don't know, like over here, you get Domino's just down the road there. I mean, Domino's is not great, but you know, they got a $5 pepperoni pizza. It's just the pizza, the sauce, the cheese, and just pepper. So what you need? That's $5. I live on that stuff.
Exactly. Look at this. It's all downhill from here for that question.
Shae, I'm moving to Australia. If it's 5 Aussie didgeridoo dollars to buy a pepperoni pizza from Domino's.
Yeah.
$7.99 US here, so like $10.
Oh wow, no, that's nuts. Nobody'd buy it for that.
They got the meal, the deal thing in Domino's is $5.98 if you do it with the deal.
If you buy 2 things, yeah.
Oh gosh, just whatever. Anyway, all right. Do you have any other tidbits or anything about the company man that you want to make sure that we get out there before we wrap up the show?
Aside from the fact that all the art's done and the coloring's half done and the shipping is being handled within the US to drop the cost, you know, just reinforcing the idea that this book is a sure thing, it's guaranteed. Even if I didn't make $1 off the Indiegogo, I'd still be publishing this book. I'd just be looking at other avenues. I suppose I'd chuck it up on a website somewhere or Amazon or print on demand and hope that somebody's interested enough to go and order it that way. I mean, Indiegogo is just a way to distribute it on a broader scale to a bunch of people who are interested. I want to thank everybody who has backed so far and everybody who's considering backing in the future. I'd like to think I've put out a pretty good case as why you should. I recognise that this sort of level of espionage and violence and the some of the raw and crude elements might not be to everybody's taste, but I am making the sort of books I want to read. This is exactly the sort of comic I would want to read. It's got those Stormwatch vibes, those 90s vibes, that 2000 authority, that sort of stuff where people with superpowers are dealing with mundane, normal, regular, everyday situations in these extreme locations. And just the start of something a lot bigger. This is book 1 of 3 to make up Dead, White and Blue. Then you've got Heart of Darkness, then you've got Cold War, then you've got Insurgent. Each one of those is written, 180 pages, 3 books of 60. You've also got Company Men Black. You also got the individual character stories. And aside from that, this is part of the Brain Cage universe. So there's, you know, this is tying into Gun Demon, it's tying into World War Hell, it's tying into the Scarab, it's tying into Hellcast. All these other books that are being produced right now, the art's being made on it. And again, with Brain Cage, like me, anything they can't do necessarily individually, they've brought on someone else. Some of these artists are bringing on pro writers. They've got ex-Big 2 writers coming on and doing the scripting on these people's books and these people's ideas. Instead of saying, hey, I'm an artist, I've got an idea, I'm going to write it. Hey, I'm an artist, I've got an idea. I'm paying this guy who used to work on Conan back in the day to come in and work on my book. I'm paying this guy who used to work on X Factor to come in and do the writing for my book, you know. And these guys are going to be doing the scripting to make sure that you're getting the best product possible. So this is the start of something really, really big. This is you know, 0.0 of what we're hoping to be will be the biggest shared indie universe out there, certainly the biggest one in CG, and one that you're going to be hearing a lot of over the next couple of years. It's everywhere. We've got you know, posters, patches, stickers. Forget about that. We've got the CCG, we've got Zero Issues, we've got action figure stuff lined up, we've got maquettes and sculptures, like all this sort of stuff is in the work. And it's a big reach, but it's all being done on a timetable that's realistic, reasonable, and everything's being budgeted for ahead of time. We're not doing any of that sort of stuff where it's like, we're going to do this with the hope that it sells enough to pay for itself. We're making sure this stuff is locked. It's got to be smart, because how many people have you heard try to do something like this before and it's failed? It always falls through, you know. So we're making sure it's all budgeted ahead of time. We're being smart with it. We're taking our time. It took the MCU 10 years to get to Endgame and Infinity War. I haven't watched either of those two. It took them all that time to build up the characters to get to the point where you cared about. We realized this is a long game. You know, start off with me here, jump over to Gun Demon. He's releasing campaign for that soon. Then you've got Scarab, then you've got Blitzkrieg, Hellcast, all this other stuff, and grow this universe together. But it only happens when you go, you know, this is something I want to be a part of. I want to buy in on this to keep that momentum going.
Absolutely. You are now over 100 backers, sir. Congratulations.
Thank you. That's fantastic.
And you've got a bunch of people who are planning to back and just haven't quite yet. So that's
got plenty
phenomenal.
of time. Yep. And I'll be on Twitter hitting up the memes. I've got a strong meme game. I don't know if you've seen my I have a new meme every day for the company men to keep it in people's minds, just to remind them why it's a good idea to back it. So I'll try and stay visible. I'm trying to line up some more appearances just to be around, but also not annoying. Hopefully nobody's sick of me yet.
You know, I don't think so. And Sai, do you want to talk about the backer kit stuff that you have there, whatever that is? I forget.
I just re-enabled it so it wouldn't interfere while we were going through the campaign, but it takes little looks at your campaign as it goes along and predicts where it's going to go and when, and it's predicting it's going to go likely towards about 10 grand.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. I'd be happy with 5 figures. I do feel like, and looking at it objectively, taking that step back, neglecting my role in it, looking at the quality of the book, I do think it's a 5-figure campaign. I think the quality of the work that Kelso and Renzo and the Clayton brothers and Dio Lima and Stephen Koch, the work they've put into it deserves 5 figures. My script just happens to be a part of that, you know? Yeah.
The only thing I'd suggest is maybe on book 2, do 30, then extend it for another 30, because as you can see here, it's not anticipating the middle bump like it would have if you did 30, then extended. So that
I've heard a few people mention that. That's really good advice, and it's.
Well, it also
I think
gives
it's just an
people,
oversight.
it keeps it in people's heads. So some people feel like it feels a little bit dishonest, like you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm only doing 30, and then surprise, I did another 30. And there's some people, there's some people who don't. It's rare, but there's some people who don't. But I think the bigger thing is there's so many campaigns to try and keep track of. When you see a number like 52 days left, that campaign goes into the back of your mind.
Yeah, it is definitely an oversight.
And it's going to be something that's going to be a bit of a challenge for you during this, which is why like trying to keep in everyone's vision without getting annoying is definitely something to attempt. But the art is awesome. The story sounds really entertaining. The fact that you don't care if you kill off your characters makes me both happy and terrified. And I'm gonna be honest, it's why I backed it. It's why I backed it while we were talking and all of that, and I got quiet for a bit. There being an extension, there's he's at 52 days, so you're gonna go in demand, I'm assuming?
I mean, I'll go in demand, so anybody who didn't get it is able to get it. But
right,
that's you see some of these other guys. I'm not going to do in demand and wait months and months of in demand before I fulfill it. Like once the campaign's over, we should be at the stage of where we're putting together the digital file, because all the coloring and everything will be done. So my hope is that once I've got all the books printed, shipped over to RJ, and this is the model he's worked on. He says, just say it's a month after the campaign's finished, it's still in demand. You pack it back in demand. I get that information, I send it on to him. He's got the book in the mail within 24 hours to you. So it's not 60 days then in demand for 6 months and then it gets fulfilled. Mm-hmm. Hopefully once the campaign's over, we're going to be in that place where we can start fulfilling. And then anybody who does jump on with the in-demand is just going to be just posted to them day by day. Every day I get, I'm getting roughly a couple of backers every day. So if I was in demand at this point, I'd just be giving RJ that information. Within 24 hours, he'd have those books out to people. I've seen all the boxes and everything. He's got all the assembly lines set up there, and he just pops it in, closes it all up, seals it up with the heat seal, chucks it in Gemini mailer in the padded bag, off to the post office you go. So that's the
awesome.
Process we're hoping. Yeah. And then his next step is to, once he's got a bunch of people working through this process with him, committed to this way of distribution, which I think is just a fantastic way of doing it. He wants to do where you can contact a comic book store and say, hey, I've got these hard to get first print run indie books, these CG books, these indie books that you want, look how good they are, look at the quality, and ship a bunch of those, 4 or 5 of each, so your book, my book, his book, that book, send all of them to a comic book store, one shipping cost, and they're all in the book on the shelf in the comic book store, ready to go, being distributed to the mainstream.
That's awesome.
Thanks, Brittany.
I agree also with Silver, not with the Flaming Cheeto comment. Brain Cage t-shirt.
So yeah, there's apparel coming. Greg's a fantastic network. He knows everyone. He's a people collector. Like, he collects interesting people that have skills.
So Greg and I need to talk, is what you're saying. Got you.
Should do. He knows somebody that can do anything you need to know. If I need someone disappeared, I'd talk to him. I bet he would know somebody how to make it happen. He's a very interesting dude. He's got a guy locally that does printing. We're getting Brain Cage Accompaniment apparel put together right now, and that's going to turn up in the campaign very, very soon. Awesome. We're looking at beanies, hats, hoodies, sweatshirts, t-shirts, that sort of thing. You buy them individually and just add it on, or you can just buy a whole pack if you want the whole thing. Because the campaign is modular, you pick what you want, then you go to the next page and you pick any add-ons that you want, any perks and stuff like that.
Fantastic. Damn you, because I might have to back again. Although I will say your shipping, when you said about half of what you would expect, it was less. It was less than half of what I would expect. So you're doing great. especially if that is a good price point where you can actually fulfill.
Yeah, well, there's still a bit of cushion for me there, just in case conversion rates change drastically. I still have enough of a cushion that I'm not out financially. I'll still be able to cover that spread. So again, RJ Critical Blast, hit him up. He's got a spreadsheet that will tell you to the cent how much it'll cost to get a book sent from you to him, from him to the backer in the US. I mean, the guy's a prodigy. He knows what he's doing. Please go talk to him, because he's got time. He's got the space. He wants to take on more clients. And the more successful he is, the bigger his operation can be, and the more everybody benefits from that.
Absolutely. That is amazing. Well, Lee, this has been fucking amazing, dude. And I'm shocked that is the first time I've seen you take a sip of water in the last hour. Because I've been over here just listening to you talk. I'm like, I really want to drink more of my drink, but then, I start losing teeth.
I've said before, it's funny how all the jobs I've had and all the careers I've had leading up to now has worked towards giving me the skills to do this. Talking spontaneously, talking to a group of people, being a salesman. I've worked in sales before, so saying, here's the reasons why you want this thing, here's why you want it, here's the fee. That's what all those skills I've developed unknowingly has somehow worked towards me being right here where I am at this moment. So this feels like destiny. This feels like it's meant to be. This is the start of what I hope to be a long-running comic book career. I've said before, I'm turning 40 this year. If you give me another 40 years, I've got more IPs than I've got years left in my life. If I do one a year, I'll be dead before I get them all out. I've got so many ideas that I can capitalize on, so many ideas that I can exploit and use that are to the quality and the level of the company men. This could be the first of a very, very lucrative, very long-running career, and that's what I'm really hoping, that I can do this for the rest of my life.
Awesome. Final question that we have: does RJ the Shipping Guru have a website?
You can find him at. Sorry.
The Zipping Guru.
I like to think that was intentional. You definitely find him on Twitter, Critical Blast, at Critical Blast. He's got a YouTube channel. I don't know if he has a website set up yet. I'm pretty sure I'm the first or second client that he's actually got locked into this thing. But I like, you've seen the numbers, Shae. Like, there's so much potential with this thing. It'd be mad for any foreigner not to take advantage of this. It only cost me a certain amount to ship 25 kilos of comics to him. And it's a very, very affordable. I was surprised how cheap it was to ship in that big bulk amount. He'll have it within 2 weeks, and then he starts shipping it out individually. It's an amazing system.
That is crazy. So I definitely hit up Critical Blast. It's good peeps. And Brazilian Dave says, you don't look 40. I would say 39.
Well, I'm 39 now. Turn 40 this year.
Mobig says make audiobook versions and release the ones you didn't get around to posthumously. It should take you 10 minutes.
I don't know if anybody wants to listen to this for hours on end.
I don't think it would be hours, though. I think it would be minutes.
Yeah, that's right.
It'd be a handful of seconds. But seriously, go back to the company, man. This book looks really, really well put together. It looks very polished, has a very interesting premise with some really interesting looking characters, and Lee is ruthless. So the storytelling is going to be good, because he doesn't want to write something that's boring or that would suck, and he's going to do what needs to be done, even if that means killing off characters that he likes.
That's true. It's not quite Jawbreaker's level, but not everybody will make it to the end. That's the truth. And in a book like this, in a world like this.
Oh.
Guest appearance.
Yes. It happens.
He's beautiful.
Oh, that's so sweet. Seriously though, I want to thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. And
thanks for having me. It's been a fantastic experience. It's been so chill, so fun. The banter you guys have is I know you guys are busy and you're booked out. Maybe I could talk to you about booking in right when the campaign's winding down or something, and having sort of like a finish up, closer to finish up, because this has just been an amazing, I don't get nervous going on streams, but you guys are so pro. I was like, I could see nervousness on the horizon. I'm aware that it was a possibility. I'm like,
that makes me so happy.
You got to bring your best game. If you're going to be on with Shae and CY, you got to bring your best game, and it's been super chill, which I really appreciate. It's been a great experience.
We would love to have you back on for sure when you get towards the end of your campaign and everything. Do a check-in. Let's see how it's going and all of that. So definitely hit us up and we'll talk, and we'll get you because we are booking out far. But I mean, I think I just booked Wooly in July, so like I'm not opposed to putting people on a schedule way out there.
Yeah, well,
to make sure.
And this was saying earlier, this is the platform we've built. People want to be a part of this. You guys have put in the hard yards, and this is one of the premier. This is the one people fight to get onto.
Oh,
I've got people DMing me saying, "I heard you're on Shae. Can you talk to Shae to get me on her show?" Like, I can let her know that you want to be there, but I can't make any. All I can do is say there's this person that wants to be on because.
Wait, do you charge a fee to funnel people towards us? That'd be awesome.
I mean, I could. You guys get kickbacks.
Wow, that. I mean, at this point, I don't know that I'm opposed to that. Anyway, yeah, I appreciate that. That makes me really happy to hear because we work really hard. We've tried to build something that is good, that helps highlight books in a good way and in a laid back, fun environment where it doesn't feel like a straight up shill for an hour and change. And you know, we get to see a lot of really amazing stuff, and the Company Men is not excluded from that. This is a really awesome looking book. I've heard you talking about this for what feels like forever, so seeing it now is so exciting for me, and I definitely think that this is a fantastic campaign, and it should do very, very well. You're doing great for your first week. Gosh, your first week, you're almost at 5K, which is insane. So definitely, we will absolutely have you back on. Thank you, everybody in the chat who has been hanging out. Thank you, everyone who backed during the show. You guys are amazing. And honestly, it doesn't happen without all of you. So thank you guys so much. Thanks, Alex, for running things.
Kind of.
Sometimes a little too much, but you know, it's fine. We'll work on it.
We were virtually slapping each other through DMs through most of this, so...
Yes, because every time I do the only job I get left with, Sai takes it from me.
You're like, look here, bitch, stop touching it. That's okay, I didn't do one thing.
Wait, what?
The banner.
Okay, whatever. So... Thanks everybody for hanging out with us, and we will catch you guys in 2.5 hours. Wait, 2.5
Yes.
hours. Wow, that goes really fast. So we'll see you guys later. Thanks so much for coming by.
Thanks everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.